All right, for more reaction, we want to bring in David Horowitz, author of Dark Agenda, The War to Destroy Christian America. And our panelists, Bobby Eberle and Ted Harvey, are also standing by. David, we'll start this off. Are you surprised to see Trump supporters in New York City, even if that meant that one had to hide her identity?
No, why would I be surprised? He got 75 million votes. That's more than any president before him in history. Trump has been much maligned. We're living in very embarrassing times for Americans. Here we have, they're burning books, and the books are these incredibly popular Dr. Seuss books. How shameful is that? That whatever it is now, 70, 80 years after the Nazis burned books in Berlin, we're doing it here, although it's more figuratively, taking classics off the shelves. You know, these people, they can't even, you know, you asked, or your reporter asked, what's Trump guilty of? They have no idea. They just hate him, period. It's pure. The Democrat Party is a party of hate. It's been spewing hate for 4 or 5 years now. Completely unanchored. You know, the leader of the hate team is Nancy Pelosi, called all Republicans enemies of the state. Can you imagine? I mean, not even McCarthy, you know, called the whole political party enemies of the state.
Yeah, clearly highly political times. I mean, we're seeing in New York City clashes between two different groups of supporters there, those who support the president and those who do not. Bobby, interesting to note, too, that those supporters, they're already calling on Donald Trump, who's up at the top of Trump Towers, to run in 2024 to save America. At least that's what their sign said. Do you think that's sending a message? Do you think that might encourage him to get back on the campaign trail in 2024?
Oh my gosh, these next couple of years are going to be so interesting and so fascinating. I think, you know, what he was hinting at CPAC, you know, just a couple of weeks ago, was he's going to be out there, he's going to have an integral role in 2022. But he almost, you know, was just right there at the tip of his tongue that he was going to run again. I think if the support is there, if people keep pushing him, that rather than play kingmaker, I think that's what he'll do. I mean, that's just my opinion right now. But the support is definitely there. We saw it at CPAC. We saw it in, you know, the support in New York. But, you know, it's interesting times. And when we see Roy Blunt and others retiring, we see the influence that President Trump exerts right there, because the candidates that are going to run are going to be pro-Trump candidates pushing a conservative agenda, but also sticking up for our rights and fighting back against the media and the cancel culture.
Yeah, Ted Harvey, are we going to see the presence of Donald Trump before 2024, maybe behind the scenes?
You bet. I think that the president's going to be doing everything he possibly can to make sure that the Republicans win 6 seats in the U.S. House of Representatives and rip the gavel out of Nancy Pelosi's hands. I think that all we have to do is win 1 seat in the Senate, and I think it's pretty much a given that we're going to do that. And if we were able to do that, and President Trump is a huge player in that, and I think we're going to have some pretty significant primaries in the Republican Party as well, and if we put forward some solid pro-America agenda first Republicans in there, I think that will set the table for the president to make the decision to get back in. And if he wants to, he will. There's nobody in the Republican Party that can run a primary against him. And certainly there's nobody in the Democrat Party that can defeat him. Joe Biden, I'm not sure he can make it for another 4 years, much less run again when he's, what would he be, 82 years old then? And Kamala Harris, nobody liked her when she ran in the Democrat primary. She couldn't even get 1 vote in 1 state. And so the Democrat bench is pretty weak. So looking forward, I think if Donald Trump wants to run, he certainly has all the wind behind his back.
All right, we will wait and see what happens. Ted Harvey, Bobby Eberle, please stick around. David Horowitz, thank you for taking the time.
Some publicly funded universities are being accused of using taxpayer dollars to push an uncritical look at socialism and even Marxism. In fact, the University of Maine is hosting a Socialist and Marxist Studies speaker series during its spring semester. Angela Morabito joining us from Campus Reform. She's a Campus Reform Fellow and former press secretary at the Department of Education under Betsy DeVos. Panelists Bobby and Ted are here as well. Angela, is this why college students graduate with a more socialist view? Because a university like we just showed are offering programs like this?
Of course, and this isn't just a flash in the pan. What's going on at the University of Maine is actually the natural evolution of something the Leadership Institute's campus reform has been tracking for quite a while. We've seen other public colleges offer courses on the relevance of socialism, saying it is important for our time. And you know what they say about people who don't study history, they're doomed to repeat it. And of course, college students are going to be swayed by what they heard. They're being presented, as you said, an uncritical look at an ideology that's killed 100 million people in the not terribly distant past. Students also sort of take up the mantle themselves. We've had a student who reported being harassed and targeted by her peers because she spoke out against socialism. So University of Maine is getting bold, and they're not even trying to hide it anymore. They're saying this is our speaker series. Right. We're going to do this with taxpayer funding.
Bobby Eberle, your thoughts on hearing something like this? Socialist and Marxist studies there happening at that university.
Well, you hit on the critical word, which is critical. You know, they're not doing a critical review of socialism and Marxism, communism. But the thing is that when you look at what is being taught, what is being discussed at the seminars, it's absolutely outrageous. Blaming conservatives for distrusting government, I mean, that goes to our core. The United States was founded because of a distrusting government, and it's not conservative elites who are promoting this. This is the grassroots when they see stories banned and Dr. Seuss banned and on and on and on. It doesn't take a conservative elite to see that something is wrong in this country. And these studies, one and over another, it shows the direction. And we need to get a more active role and do something about this, because this is our tax dollars going to fund these kind of seminars.
Ted Harvey, I got about 25 seconds for your thoughts on hearing something like that.
Well, I'd like to see how many classes the university is holding on financial literacy. How many kids coming out of that school can actually balance a checkbook or understand what a mortgage is and how it works. We're spending all of this money to brainwash our kids, but we aren't teaching them how the real world works. And I think that's probably the most important thing we can do in our K through 12 public education system and in our higher ed. And our system is failing these kids, and it's failing America.
Some of that would shock, that headline right there. That Socialist and Marxist Studies lectures happening. All right, out of time, Angela Morbido, thank you so much for coming on with that report. Bobby, Ted, stick around.
Okay, friends, thanks so much for watching. And before you go, please hit that subscribe button, hit that bell so you'll be notified. And here's a special video just for you so you can watch even more of the 13-minute news hour. And don't forget to check out GOPUSA.com for the best in conservative news and commentary. We'll see you next time.